Hobby Quick Hits. Delivering that breaking hobby news directly to your earlobes. You want to know those hot drops from the card shop? We've got you covered. With your host, John Newman.
Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 160 of Hobby Quick Hits. Today, another Q&A. I gotta say, I've been really pleased with, I asked for, questions from you folks out there, that you'd want to ask me. And, I've gotten quite a few, enough to do another one today. This is actually the fifth Q&A episode that we've done, some new questions, and now I'm sort of running low on the questions. So once again, I'll beg and plead, hey, if you got any questions you want to ask me, they can be hobby questions or they can be off topic. I'm not going to do a whole show of off topic questions, but I might throw one in there as well if one is asked. So again, this is the fifth edition of Q&A, and I want to thank you out there for being interactive and sending in those questions, and ask you to continue to do so. If you have already, fire another one. If you haven't yet, fire away.
Okay, now a quick word from our great sponsor, followed by the new product release schedule. Then we'll go around the Hobbyverse to tell you all the latest hobby happenings and news. Then we'll tackle today's topic of discussion.
MojoBrakeShop.com is the best place to get your sealed wax products and brakes. They not only have the best selection, but the best prices. Whether it's a box or a whole case, they are your guys. They ship worldwide to your doorstep. Their reputation as one of the most trusted in the hobby goes unmatched. They are the 2021 Topps Rip Party Champion Breakers. From sports card to Pokemon cards, their selection can't be beat. They offer daily deals and pre-orders.
Hey guys, John Newman here. Mojo's prices are already great, but to save an additional 10% off anything in their store, use the code QUICKHITS. That's QUICKHITS. Check out the full service store that's open 7 days a week in Santa Clara, California, or the website at mojobreak.com.
Let's check out this week's hobby wax releases. Take it away, Owen.
Hey guys, so I'm from Sports Card Shop. Let's go over the weekly releases. On the 30th, we have 2022 Panini Case Football, 2023 Panini Prism Collegiate Draft Picks Football, 2023 Topps Crossman Chrome Baseball. And then on the 31st, we have Topps Finest Bundesliga Soccer. And on the 1st, we have 2023 Panini Donruss Elite Football, 2022-23 Panini Mosaic Basketball, 2023 Topps Pro Debut Baseball Hobby and Jumbo, 2023 Topps Stranger Things Season 4. And on the 6th, we have 2023 Panini Immaculate Baseball, 2022-23 Panini Spectra Basketball. And on the 8th, we have 2023 Onyx Hitting Gems Collection, 2023 Panini Plates and Patches Football, and 2023 Star Signature Series Entertainment. That's it, guys. Have a good day.
Let's go round the Hobbyverse and catch up on this week's hobby news.
All right, not a ton of news stories, but some big ones. Let's start with the biggest and most obvious one. We know the Fanatics Panini battle, if you will, litigation, and then the bombshell, the NFLPA, the NFL Players Association, announces they are pulling the license from Panini, which was not to expire till 2026. They say we're pulling it now, and not only are they pulling it, but we're going to give it to Fanatics early. Obviously, I have no say in the matter, but it's big news. But the thing that bothered me the most was them just saying, hey, we're going to hand it to Fanatics now. Like, if you're mad at Panini and you don't want them to do your cards anymore, all right, but you can't just give it to the next person that early without, someone else ruling that Panini, really did mess up. So Panini, basically fired back, said, our contract runs to 2026. We are going to fulfill our commitment. We didn't do anything wrong. And, we're going to file for, an injunction just to be legal and above board. And that's where we're at. And Panini continues to, list football products or ship out, according to some store owners that I know. So it's business as usual for them. Many are saying, and I don't disagree, but many are saying this is, probably a plot on both parts to, for Panini, they want to raise their acquisition price, and for Fanatics, they want to hasten, speed up the process to acquire Panini so they can start producing basketball and football cards and not wait to 2026. They don't want to wait to 2026. And so that's what this is all about. Again, a lot of speculation. I just added some right here and now. And I'll even add more speculation, although I believe this to be true. I don't think the NFLPA woke up one morning and decided to do this. I think a phone call was made or some kind of communique between Fanatics, whether it's Ruben himself or someone on that team, to the NFLPA, who they're in good with. Hey, do this. Let's get working together sooner. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out.
Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you.
Brian Gray, owner and CEO of Leaf Trading Cards of 13 years, released a statement announcing he is stepping away from that position. So that's what the Happy Trails was for. He cited health and family. Did not announce at the moment a successor. And talk about a news story, with lots of speculation around it. This one as well. Many are saying he is going to take a position with the Fanatics group, maybe heading tops. I'm not saying he's not going to Fanatics, but I don't know, what position. I don't know about running tops, but what do I know, right? It's all speculation. Others are saying maybe he's sick, and maybe that's why health was listed as the first reason. Obviously, I hope he is healthy and not sick. So, more to come on this too. Many are saying Leaf has been acquired by Fanatics, and it just hasn't been announced yet, and they don't want him as part of the package. Again, depends who you talk to, you'll get a different opinion or theory. So we'll have to wait and see any kind of further announcements there. Didn't get to touch much on it, and I'm not going to talk a ton about it. You probably heard about the Wander Franco situation. Allegedly a relationship with a 14-year-old girl. Major League Baseball is looking into it. He is right now indefinitely suspended. We can look at the Trevor Bauer situation, and he'll probably never pitch in the majors again. And so many are feeling like Wander Franco's Major League Baseball career may be over barely after it got started, and his cards are reflective of that price. I'm not going to tell you to buy him on this huge sell-off, but let's see what comes out of this. I try to follow the innocent until proven guilty. Not good if this is true, obviously. And, we're going to let this kind of chips play out. I'm not telling you to buy them, but let's see what happens here. And, he's such a young player. It would be sad if that's how his career kind of ends. But let's see what evidence shows and then what Major League Baseball decides to do. Speaking of players with a little dip in price, or not as much as Wander, but Ohtani hurt his UCL and will shut down pitching for the rest of the year. But he's still playing. He's still just batting. And a lot of people, we've seen a little bit of dip in price. I get it, but I don't get it. Here's my take on Ohtani. He could stop playing today. He's going to win the American League MVP. He's got 44 home runs at the time of this recording, way ahead of second place, and just putting up incredible numbers in the box. Plus, his pitching stats before he got hurt were phenomenal. So, he's got MVP in the bag this year. I know it's his, going to be another surgery relating to pitching. But, his pitching season might be over, but he's going to come back. He's going to very soon here be the highest paid Major League Baseball player ever, whether that's to stay with the Angels or he takes his talents somewhere else. New York Mets, please. But, he's still, if he just hit, here's the crazy thing that I think people forget. If he never pitches again and just hits and stays relatively healthy to do that, he's going to be a Hall of Famer. He's going to do things, never seen before. And he's already, I know we compare him to Babe Ruth, and what I might say might shock some of you, and some of you will probably nod your head in agreement. He's already better than Babe Ruth when it comes to two-way players. Babe Ruth had one incredible pitching year. Ohtani's had 3 at this point, and maybe more to come, hopefully. He gets over this injury with successful surgery. So, if you want to sell Ohtani real cheap, contact me, because I'm a buyer. Because even just as a hitter, he's still an incredible player. And, that's the thing about hobbyists, right? Someone gets injured and people like act as if they're never going to come back from that. But in this case, even if he never pitches again, he's still an incredible hitter and an incredible talent and an incredible baseball player. So if you want to dump, let me know.
And now, our featured presentation.
All right, let's get into these questions. You know how these work. Again, feel free to send any questions you may have to any of our social medias, emails, DM, PMs, whatever, smoke signals, hire a plane, but you get the idea. We love these questions, and that, we want to answer as many as we can if anything's on your mind. So the first question comes from Pat. He says, John, love the show. Is there a guest you haven't had on that you would love to have on? Yeah, I probably would say yeah. I mean, first off, we've had over 200 guests on Sports Card Nation. I'm sure that's what it's referring to. We've had guests on the show as well, from 7-year-old young collectors to CEOs and everything in between. I pride myself on that. To answer your question, I never really thought about it. I guess, I've efforted Gary V to no avail. I know he's been on other shows. But if I had to pick one answer, I would say, whether I like him or not has no, to me, factor. But I say Michael Rubin. I love if Michael Rubin would come on Sports Card Nation, be very tactful. But, yeah, I got some questions I would like answered and the opportunity to ask them. So the answer to your question for me, when only picking one, Michael Rubin. All right, second question comes from James, who asks, heard you talk about some of your favorite teams, but how much sports do you actually watch? First off, when it comes to football and the Steelers, I watch literally every game. The only time I would miss a Steeler game is if I was somewhere that that I had to be at where I couldn't watch the game. And even then I would, tape it and then watch it after and try not even to hear the score if at all possible. So every Steeler game, I'm a huge Mets guy. Our seasons really went down the tubes, but before that officially happened, I was watching not every Mets game. They play 162, but probably 50 to 60% of them when I could. My household is all Mets fans, so somebody here is always watching the game, whether it's me too or not. But so a lot of Mets games, a lot of Steeler games. I'm a New York Ranger fan, and I watch a good percent, probably same thing like with the Mets, 50 to 60% of the games that are on, I'll sit down and watch them. I now have, it's not really recent, but cable in my office here probably about a year and a half ago. And that's helped me accomplish, higher sports watching. And, obviously the World Cup, I'll watch the U.S. games. I'll watch other teams. Obviously, World Series, Super Bowl, playoffs, SU. I'm in Syracuse, so I will watch SU sports in person and on TV. I live a mile and a half from the Syracuse Mets AAA stadium, so I try to catch a few games at least every year there as well. So. Yeah, I was a sports fan before I was in the hobby, and I think that's why I'm in the hobby, and I remain a sports fan to this day. So, time is of the essence, but I do tend to watch a decent amount of sports. All right, Mike asks, you talked about on a recent show maybe the National being in new locations. What say you, John? Where do you want to see it if you had the power? Well, I don't have that power, unfortunately, and I'm going to be a little selfish and biased here with my answer and say Baltimore. My good friend Danny Black lives there, so I'd have a place to stay, and we'd make, part of the national scene, the city, and things it offers, right? And I'd have a personal tour guide with Danny doing that. So Baltimore, and I have heard Baltimore be mentioned again, so maybe that's somewhat, a possibility. But that would probably be, my pick when it comes to a new location that it hasn't been in a while. So again, for the reasons I stated, which are kind of personal and biased, but Baltimore would be my answer. Okay, next question comes from Jalen, I hope I'm not butchering that. It's spelled Jalin, Jalen. And he asks, what sport do you think's most in trouble hobby-wise? That's a good question. We can rank them now, right? But I'm going to take this question and mean, which one is in danger of kind of losing its perch. When we think about the four major sports, when it comes to the hobby, hockey's going to be 4, right? Some people claim soccer's past it. I don't see that, but I don't know. So, hockey is already 4. So I'll say which of the other 3 could lose their spot. I think it's basketball. I think we've already started to see sort of that hysteria and hype come off that rose, right? The bloom come off that rose a little bit. Why is that my answer? Here's why. I don't just want to say basketball and not give you some explanations, right? Number one, I think we've seen some of the major stars take some hits. Ja Morant got in trouble and suspended. Zion's been, up until this point, very disappointing. Has missed a lot of time. LeBron James, the Lakers have not been really successful in the postseason, and he's on the backside of his career. And we've seen some of the rookie classes the last few years be sort of disappointing. I mean, the biggest one in recent years was that Ja Morant Zion rookie year. And, it looked like Ja was going to carry that class, and then he got in trouble. So I think some not great rookie classes, some off-the-court issues, got, hype superstars not being on the court, other hype superstars like LeBron, while there's certain Hall of Famers, they're sort of not being successful in the postseason. Whether you like it, it doesn't bother me, but some people will point to, a lot of foreigners dominating the sport or in the draft, like I never even heard of this guy. Who is he? Where you watch other drafts and there's more familiarity. Again, doesn't bother me personally, but I guess I could see that when I've heard others talk about it. I guess I could see that as maybe why popularity can come down. But I think if you're really entrenched in the hobby and finger on the pulse, I think you've noticed sort of basketball. I'm not saying it's not popular and it's not a lot of cards and product being sold. I just think it's calmed down tremendously to where it was, and I think the potential for it to drop even more is out there. So that's my answer, Jalen, is basketball. All right, we'll quit at 4. I have a couple more, but we'll save those, and we'll hopefully get some more, and we'll add to that, and somewhere down the line do the 6th rendition of this show. But don't want to make the show too long, so we'll wrap it up there. I want to thank the 4 folks that sent in those questions, and again, feel free to keep sending in those questions so we can do these shows from time to time. I don't want to overdo it, but it's fun to answer some of these questions that what people might be wondering about. So with that being said, thank you very much. All right, thank you for listening to another episode of Hobby Quick Hits. Want to give out our social media, starting with our website, which is www.sportscardnationpodcast.com. Facebook, you can follow us at www.facebook.com/SportsCardNationPodcast/. Twitter, we are at SportsCardNati1, so it's SportsCard NATI1. Instagram, at SportsCardNationPodcast, or you can email the show, hobbyquickhits@gmail.com. Again, thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.